from a French presidential election defeat to Emmanuel Macron, and accept that a National Front party must drop its policy of quitting the euro. The European Union was the second most important issue for voters on Sunday's run-up, just after jobs and ahead of security fares, migration, taxes, and a wide range of other themes. The election offered a stark choice between Le Pen's plan to ditch the euro and break up the EU, and the centrist Emmanuel Macron's pledge to the
this morning representing Oper constituency Chief Sheriff Obowewori. The Deputy Speaker, Mr. Friday Osanebi, presided at the Assembly sitting where the former Speaker Igboya was impeached alongside the Majority Leader Tim Owofere. The lawmakers also suspended the impeached Speaker for 3 months, while the former Majority Leader, who has now been replaced by Mr. Johnson Erijo, was however handed an indefinite suspension. At the end of the sitting, the new Speaker and the other members then proceeded to the Government House to intimate the State Governor Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa of the changes in the leadership of the House. The Kano State House of Assembly has set up an 8-man committee to investigate the allegation leveled against the Emir of Kano, Malam Muhammadu Sanusi II, bordering on his purported misconduct and alleged misappropriation of funds belonging to the Kano Emirate Council. The Speaker of the State Assembly, Kabiru Alzan Runmu, who presided over the plenary session on Wednesday, constituted the panel following a point of order raised by the member representing Nasarawa constituency, Ibrahim Ahmed Gama. The lawmaker alleged that Sanusi expressed false information on the trip to the Kano State Governor, Abdul Lahid Umar Daguje, to China recently to hold a discussion on a light rail project in the state. Gama also insisted that the statement attributed to the emir was capable of tarnishing the governor's image, the state government, and that of the country. He also accused Sanusi of introducing religious views that were contrary to the teachings of Islam, saying such things were capable of undermining the religion. For the first time since he left office in the year 2015, the former Vice President, Namadi Sambo, on Wednesday paid a formal visit to the successor and the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, in his office. Sambo, who met Osinbajo behind closed doors, was entering the presidential villa for the second time since he left office, but paying a courtesy visit to Osinbajo for the first time. He had visited the villa for the national function while he attended the independence anniversary of the 1st of October 2016. Sambo said he had visited Osinbajo, his successor, on a mere familiarization tour. He explained further that he had opted to visit Osinbajo as the acting president's predecessor, the way and is customary for a former president to also visit the incumbent president. The federal government of Nigeria has dismissed the controversy over the President Muhammadu Buhari's letter to the National Assembly, in which it stated that the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo will coordinate government activities in his absence. Addressing journalists on the outcome of the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting, which was presided over by Osinbajo, the Minister of Information and Culture, Mr. Lai Mohammed, described the reactions as a needless distraction, adding that the operative phrase in the letter was in compliance with Section 144, Section 1 of the 1999 Constitution. He pointed out that once the phrase was in the letter and any other words that were included were not of paramount importance. After the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, read a letter on the floor of the Senate on Tuesday announcing Buhari's follow-up medical trip to the United Kingdom. Senator Mal Ohabua from Abia North had raised a point of order questioning the use of the words coordinating activities of the government as against the discharge with us. Moving on, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, has said that the commission is committed to making future elections in the country better than the 2015 exercise. Yakubu made a pledge when he received the new United States ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Statue, at the INEC office on Wednesday. He expressed gratitude to the United States government for his commendation of the 2015 poll. He said that one of the steps being taken was proper planning. Over 6 weeks after the nomination was not first mentioned on the floor of the Senate, the Senate Committee on Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has finally commenced the screening of the 27 resident electoral commissioner nominated by President Muhammadu Buhari. The nomination were transmitted to the Senate in the letter read on the 23rd of March 2017, which was dated February 27, 2017. But the commencement of the screening process suffered delay after the lawmakers suspended for 2 weeks. The suspension, which was to protest the president's inaction on the rejection of the protest against the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Ibrahim Mago, despite his rejection twice by the Senate. The process by the reconfirmation finally got underway on Wednesday afternoon after the preliminary session. Moving to Lagos State, where it has urged residents of the state to use their voters' card in the forthcoming local government election as a weapon to fight backwardness. The special advisor to the governor on civil engagement, Mr. Kehinde Joseph, at the ongoing ministerial press briefing in Ikeja, said having a voter's card is to have the ability to influence the outcome. Speaking on the public protest in the state in spite of the existence of the civil engagement office, Joseph lamented that many of the protests were being staged due to the lack of understanding of various channels of engagement with government. The special advisor added that his office engaged in dispute resolution and conflict management to encourage the development and good relations among individuals, groups, and communities. In the effort to re-strategize in view of the current security challenges in the country, the Nigerian Army has posted 147 officers to Operation Lafia Dole, some of its division, formation, and training schools. In a posting released by the Office of the Military Secretary, Army, Major General R.O. Yusuf, the Commander, Nigerian Army Ordnance Corps, is now the Commanding Training and Doctrine Command, MENA, while Major General L. Oyebade, the General Officer Commanding 1 Division Nigerian Army, will move to the Army Headquarters as Chief of Logistics. In the same vein, Major General A.M. Diko has been posted from the Office of the National Security Advisor to 1 Division as GOC, while the Major General Atairu is now the Theater Commander Operation Lafia Dole. According to the Director of Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Sonny Usman, Major General Leo Irabo will now move to the Multinational Joint Task Force as the Field Officer Commander. Major General P.J. Duke has been posted from 3 Division to 81 Division as the General Officer Commanding, and Brigadier General Ahautu will now be acting as the General Officer Commanding 3 Division. The Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, has said that the federal government of Nigeria has concluded plans to improve the standard of midwifery practices in the country. Adewale made this known during the commemoration of the 2017 International Day for the Midwife in Abuja. He stressed that a knowledgeable, skilled, and motivated health workforce is an important catalyst to achieve the universal health coverage, adding that there was no need for a pre-service training, which would involve regular circular curriculum review and provision of adequate funding. He pointed out that the National Health Policy considered primary health care as a framework to improve health services for all Nigerians, which include the provision of health education, adequate nutrition, safe water and sanitation, reproductive health, among other things. The National Agency for the Prevention of Trafficking in Persons has resolved to deploy more technology to tackle the menace of human trafficking. The Director General of the National Agency for the Prevention of Trafficking in Person, Mrs. Julie Okadoli, has said that the new technology will afford the agency to be more proactive and facilitate identifying and apprehending human traffickers. She said there was a network that was designed to deceive even the very best of the operative. According to her, the agency will build synergy with the critical stakeholders in the economy and the community, including religion and community leaders, for the purpose of monitoring unwholesome activities of traffickers within settlements. We'll take a short break and we'll return. News on the Hour continue. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching News on the Hour from New Frontiers Television. Moving on. Barring a last-minute change in plan, 5 pupils of the Ireti Grammar School, Falomo, Lagos State, involved in the attempted rape of 2 female pupils from the Falomo Senior Secondary School will be arraigned in court today. It was linked that while one of the suspects, whom the police said was above 18 years, will be prosecuted in an open court, the 4 others will be tried in a family court. One, Michele Matthew, had posted on social media how the 2 pupils were molested by their fellow male pupils upon the completion of their final examination. 2 of the perpetrators were identified simply as George and Abiodun. Matthew described how the pupil chose the girls into the Obalende area, tearing up the skirt of one of the victims with a pair of scissors. The 2 boys had attempted to rape the girls to the chair of other boys before the eyewitness raised the alarm. The Lagos State Commissioner for Police, Fatai Owoseni, said that the command, together with the State Ministry of Justice, has concluded arrangement to prosecute the suspect today, and he, however, did not disclose the charge preferred against them. The coroner inquest ordered by Governor Rauf Aregbesola of Osun State to probe the cause of the death of the Senator Isiaka Adeleke has started sitting in Osogbo. The sibling of the deceased, Dr. Deji Adeleke, Mrs. Dupe Adeleke Sonny, and Dele Adeleke, however, shown the panel headed by the Chief Magistrate, Mr. Olusegun Ayilara, despite the summon issued to them to appear before it on Wednesday. The Commissioner of Police in Osun State, Mr. Fimion Adeoye, the Executive Director of Biket Hospital, Dr. Adebisi Adenle, the Executive Secretary, Ede South Local Government, Mr. Johnson Ojo, were present at the sitting based on the summon issued by the coroner. The Chief Magistrate said the panel will soon be open to everyone and asked interested persons in the case to come. Aregbesola had on 2nd of May signed an executive order setting up a coroner inquest into the senator's death. The order was according to the Coroner Law Cap 32, Volume 1 Law of Osun of the year 2002. Justice John Tosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned indefinitely a suit filed by the former chairman of the House Committee on Appropriation, Abdulmumini Jobrin, seeking an order setting aside his suspension for 180 legislative days by the House on September 28, 2016. The court's decision was based on the fact that the appeal filed by the two members of the House of Representatives, Nicola Osai and Okejove Yiza, to challenge the judge's ruling, which earlier dismissed the application to join as a defendant to the suit, had been entered by the Court of Appeal. Osai was the chairman of House Committee on Ethics, which recommended Jubrim's suspension, and Yiza was the House member who moved the motion for the suspension of the lawmaker from Kano State. Jubrim's lawyer, Mr. Femi Falana's son, while reacting to the ruling, informed the judge that plans by the interested parties were to render the suit spent and nugatory, as a suspension which is claimed such to challenge will lapse on the June 28, 2017. The indiscriminate waste disposal is rampant in the country Nigeria. Segun Fumi Oyedo out this report to give. Stay with us. Improper disposal of waste has been described as one of the ways Nigerians experience untold environmental and health hazards. Apart from the offensive odor that emanates from such refuse dumps, it also has health implications on those who live around such areas. The composition of these wastes are very complex. They comprise synthetic materials, electronic waste, biodegradable material, and many others. The synthetic materials include broken bottles, empty melter containers, and remains of polythene bags of sachet water, popularly known as pure water. But experts believes that the dumping of these wastes indiscriminately is a major cause of most of the illness affecting those living around such areas.
The dumping of refuse in illegal places is something that will contribute great problem, not just for the individual, but for the country and the nation as a whole. Think about the diseases that will spread, one, and think about the inconvenience that gives us when there's rainfall. You know, it causes a lot of havoc for people. It is what you do that you will surely get. Let's be healthy and let's make our environment healthy. That's the way to go through that.
Dumping of this waste along roads and public places can cause
long way in blocking some of the drainage systems, and before you know it, most of these individuals complain of overflooding in their territories or even in their houses. Aside from the fact that it affects the drainage system, it equally affects the health of individuals. These refuges harbor diseases, and before you know it, there will be an outbreak of disease or pandemonium of the outbreak of diseases, and people will start complaining of having several ailments, disease here and there. Before you know it, majority of them land in hospitals, and for unfortunate ones who do not have the resources to be able to take care of themselves, they end up having a lifetime ailment or even dying in the process. So all the concept of individuals dropping refugees where they are not supposed to go in at illegal places is completely barbaric.
The government provides a means of clearing such refuse dumps along our roads, but these has not in any way reduced the magnitude of waste and refuse dump. In an era where the country thinks of diversifying its revenue, waste management can generate a lot of revenue, employment opportunities, among many other things. It also improves the economy of both individuals and the community. Segun Fumi Oyedo reporting.
That was a report by Segun Fumi Oyedo, the cameraman Emmanuel Chooks and Samuel Adeshiji. Moving on to business with Precious Amayo. Stay with us.
Are very complex. They comprise synthetic materials, electronic waste, biodegradable materials.
A former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, has said the Apex Bank's official exchange rate of 306 naira to the dollar has become redundant, describing it as an instrument for rent seekers and arbitrary allocation of scarce foreign exchange in the country. He said the CBN must achieve a unified market-determined exchange rate by eliminating the current multiple exchange rates as a matter of urgency. Soludo also advised the CBN to dump its current import substitution policy and adopt an export-oriented industrial strategy if it hoped to take Nigeria out of its present economic woes. According to him, the country is implementing import substitution in a crude way, and it must remove the ban placed on importers of some 41 items from accessing dollars at the official interbank foreign exchange window. Zambia Finance Minister Felix Mutati has said the country will continue a deal with the International Monetary Fund for as much as $1.6 billion by the end of June. The country has been talking about getting IMF aid since 2014, but an agreement has been delayed by 2 presidential elections, which made the required reforms politically unattractive. A team from the Washington-based lender visited Zambia last month and will return at the end of May to continue the discussions, according to Alfredo Badini, the fund's representative in the country. The Southern African nation, the continent's second biggest copper producer, has struggled with ballooning budget deficits in recent years as metal prices fell and government spending increased. British Telecoms is to shed 4,000 jobs worldwide over the next 2 years and is stripping the chief executive of his annual bonus. The telecoms giant said the job cuts would fall on back office and managerial sectors as it amplifies its global service operations. The shake-up follows an accounting scandal at the Italian part of global services that cost British Telecoms more than £500 million. British Telecom boss Gavin Patterson and now departed finance chief Tony Chamugam will lose bonuses over the scandal. British Telecom said both men understood the decision and would not have accepted a bonus if it had been approved. Precious Amayo reporting.
Moving on to the world of foreign with Jumoke Babalola. Stay with us.
Came to power with a promise to review the deployments of the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense THAAD anti-missile system, which is opposed by China, but has been deployed as a show of strength against continued provocation by the North. China has rigorously objected to the deployment, saying it destabilized the regional security balance and would lead to curb the threat posed by North Korea's nuclear and missile programs, which Pyongyang is conducting in defiance of U.S. pressure and United Nations sanctions. And finally, now in the United States, a congressional source said that FBI Director James Comey, days before President Donald Trump fired him, had told lawmakers he sought more resources for his agency's probe into possible collusion between Trump's presidential election and Russia to sway the 2016 U.S. election. With the Republican president facing a storm of criticism from many Democratic lawmakers and some in his own party, the Trump administration accused Comey of atrocities on the job and denied his firing was related to the FBI's Russia investigation. Trump, who met Russia's foreign minister at the White House on Wednesday, lashed out at critics and defended his decision to abruptly oust Comey on Tuesday from the law enforcement post he held since 2013. Olajumoke Babalola reporting. After the France elections, a top aide of Marine Le Pen has said that she needs to learn the lessons from a French presidential election defeat to Emmanuel Macron.
You're welcome back. You're still watching News on the Hour, coming to you from New Frontiers Television. Now coming up next is Sport Report with Adebola Adeleke. Stay with us after this time.
In Champions League, defending champions Real Madrid held off a spirited Atletico Madrid to set up a meeting with Juventus in next month's Champions League final in Cardiff. Atletico, trailing 3-0 from the first leg, stormed into an early 2-0 lead on the night through Saul Niguez's header and Anthony Griezmann's cheeky penalty.
For Atletico Madrid, and it's powered in by Saul Niguez. Well, they had to score early, they have scored early. Griezmann. Now Carrasco. Fernando Torres has gone down, referee says penalty. Griezmann versus Navas. It's 2-0, and what a start we've had here at the Calderon.
But Real grabbed a vital away goal when Isco poked in a rebound after Toni Kroos's fierce shot, following a brilliant run by Karim Benzema, was saved.
From Jimenez. Incredible save from Oblak, getting down quickly. One mistake and you get punished.
It's a really intelligent finish from Isco as well, because he just had the split second to look where Oblak...
He checked Atletico's momentum and left them needing 3 more goals to reach a third Champions League final in 4 seasons. Zinedine Zidane's team, attempting to become the first team to win a Champions League twice in a row, will meet Juventus at the Principality Stadium on Saturday, 3rd of June. And in Premier League, Arsenal kept alive their hopes of a top 4 Premier League finish as second half goals from Alexis Sanchez and Olivier Giroud end victory at Southampton.
Con ese control, media vuelta, tiro, definición perfecta de Alexis Sánchez, que adelanta al Arsenal. No sé qué fallo puede haber cometido Romeo, porque este plano ya sabemos que es el sin perdón de Clint Eastwood. El plano del realizador.
Substitute Giroud then made a win save by nodding in from close range minutes after coming onto the pitch.
El germano centra Alexis, busca Ramsey, el toque de Ramsey, Giroud para el segundo. El 0-2 del Arsenal, y ahora sí tiene asegurada la victoria el equipo de Arsène Wenger. Marca Olivier Giroud, asistencia de Aaron Ramsey.
The win means Arsenal moved above Manchester United into 5th, 3 points behind 4th place Manchester City. Adebola Adeleke reporting from New Frontiers television station. In Champions League, defending champions Real Madrid held off a spirited Atletico Madrid to set up a meeting with Juventus in next.
As much we'll take on the news for this hour. Thanks for staying with us. My name is Shegun Fumi Oyedokun. Do join us at 3 o'clock for more news. Good afternoon.
You deserve the glory, oh God. You deserve the praise. Worse and least to come, first and last, I found a way. Yeah, heavens declare your glory, your praise. Heaven and earth adore you, angels bow before you. We declare your praise. You deserve the praise. The wars and needs to come, first and last, I find a way. The heavens declare your glory, your praise. Heaven and earth adore you, angels bow before you. We declare your praise. Hey, Sangiri Lagiri, oh Lagiri Kaka. Mighty God, He's a mighty God. Hey, hey, Jehovah Eklaki. Sangiri Lagiri, oh. Hey, the mighty God, the mighty God, the mighty God, the mighty God. What is it? Lamb that was there, you died on the cross. Oh God, we hail, we worship, we love you. Oh God, He's the Lord that speaks, and the firmament tears open.